1 second.
I knew it. Gungrave Gore. Thank you, Goggle Bob. I appreciate you.
All that purple was making me think about other purple games.
Wario Land?
Now available on the Nintendo Switch.
Also, hi, Trinant in the chat. How you doing?
Yeah, 20XX, I believe, was something that beat.
And there was also 30XX.
Named earlier.
Oh, they made a sequel to it?
Not allowed.
20XX was cool, but like, I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. Obviously, I played it too much, like I did all those other fucking roguelites. But it definitely runs into the issue. The thing that like bothered me was I would play it on endless mode. I've played on endless mode once, right? And like in the early versions of the game, it would have like, the power-ups would be bigger shot, bigger sword, just make everything bigger at all points. Those just get phased out until you hit a max level.
Those are the
of
exciting
thickness.
ones.
Yeah, exactly, right? And like, in the early versions of the game before they were like, before they realized, hey, we should phase these out for the purposes of balancing, it would just let them get to like the size of the entire screen. That's what I want to do. Fuck you for like
at least had like a bonus mode where you could play it in like fucked up mode.
Yeah, like fuck you for preventing me from enjoying the game at full fucked upness. I want that. I like the fucked upness. I should stop before I just go off on roguelites until the end of forever.
Well, that's why we're playing.
Oh, hey, it's Wario Land. That's fun. I still need to play Pizza Tower. I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks fun.
Hey, it's Wario.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the same.
Here comes
I played like
Wario.
a few levels of Pizza Tower, and then I was like, okay, and then I somehow stopped. It was good.
I've started Wario Land 3 or 4 times, but never...
Something about Wario Land never clicked with me.
Oh, I love 1 and 3. They're some of my favorite games, but 2 and 4, I can never...
I will state that I was a Virtual Boy, boy.
If you're about to say you owned a Virtual Boy, I'm going to make fun of you even harder.
You know I owned a Virtual Boy. How could I not own a Virtual Boy? No, I was not allowed to have a Virtual Boy when it was new because...
Don't fuck up your eyes, kid.
Because literally my mother was afraid it would fuck up my eyes, yes. And then it was like $30, and my mom was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, here you go.
You're getting such savings, you can spend it on new eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it'd be foolish not to buy one. So, yeah, I made myself enjoy that and Galactic Pinball and technically Mario Clash.
Telero Boxer.
Yeah, no, I did not actually have Telero Boxer as a kid.
What's even the point?
I mean, again, I got it by the time that Virtual Boy was like $30, so it probably just wasn't available.
Can't believe you've never experienced Nestor's Funky Bowling.
I have since, don't worry. It's just I didn't have it when I was a kid.
Nestor's Funky Bowling is incredibly funny just by dint of being like... We made a Virtual Boy game based on the Nintendo Power mascot that only existed in America.
Well, I mean, they had to... Like, I always assumed it was they made a bowling game and then were like, this needs a hook.
But that hook is insane.
Yeah, well, it was a Virtual Boy. What do you want?
You were the target audience for fat-free cooking with history's greatest submarine captains.
I was a target audience for Waterworld.
God, there's something poetic about playing Waterworld on a Virtual Boy.
I've got it. And
like failures, game recognized game, failure recognizes failure.
I just love that Waterworld wasn't available elsewhere. It was just a Virtual Boy game.
There's a canceled Saturn version.
Oh, of course there is.
When we watched Waterworld on Outer Heaven, I was so confused because it's like, this is a perfectly good Mad Max movie.
This kind of owns, actually.
I mean, Waterworld isn't a bad movie. It just did so poorly for costing like $8 billion.
At the time, it was like, oh, how could a movie be this expensive? And nowadays, it's just like every third bomb does worse than Waterworld. Damn, I love curry.
Hey, I made curry yesterday.
Are you eating curry right now?
Yes, I am eating curry right now.
Leftover.
My brother kindly sent me. My brother kindly sent me a meal since I had a rough night last night.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
I mean, cool that it was sent to you, not that you had a rough night.
No, I love my brother
not
very
the rough
much.
night part.
I do love the mini games in Wario Land 4, though.
The ones that I'm walking right past.
Like a fucking jackass.
So, like, are eggplant people a thing in Japan? Because it seems like it comes up a lot.
I think eggplants are like, in Japan, it's one of the childhood, like, oh, children hate these vegetables.
Oh, that makes a certain amount of sense.
I've not heard that about eggplants. I've heard it about
I know it's definitely true of peppers.
Yeah,
Green
which is
peppers
weird
and
because
carrots.
peppers are very.
I mean, children hate things that their parents force them to eat.
Children
I
hate
guess.
things.
Children do hate things.
Pum, 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 pum. They have a pepper bar. Okay, yellow, red, blue, or green?
But eggplants mostly don't have a flavor of their own. They just absorb the flavor of whatever you cook them with.
That makes sense, because I can never really pin down what eggplants taste like, but I just know I don't ever have to taste them. I've mentioned this elsewhere, but eggplants are my ultimate, oh, eggplant parmesan, that sounds good, or, oh, fried eggplant, I'll give that a shot, and then every time I'm like, oh, no, this is no good. Not for Bob.
I don't like the Wario Land games where you lose money when you get hit.
I mean, that, I think, becomes a standard going forward, like, starting with, like, 2? Maybe even
No,
1?
it's the case in 2 and 4, but not 1 or 3.
Oh, it doesn't happen in 3? I thought... Because
No.
3 still had, like, a... Like, no death mechanic, right?
Yeah.
But shit would just slow you down.
Isn't lose money when you
Send you
get
back to the beginning of the puzzle.
Yeah, there you go.
Trying
I
says
know a
isn't
lot of
lose money
people
when you
swear
get
by
hit
3, but I'm not a
premise
big
of Sonic.
fan.
I loved it as a kid, but I replayed it recently, and I can see how annoying it can be.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's that whole no death thing, but it's just kind of like lives with a different name.
Mhm.
Want to throw this old man. Yeah, I'm definitely not, like, going for maximum score tonight, but I will pick up things where I can pick up things. Also, twice now I've dealt with those, like, squishy things, but, like, their answer to not getting squished is, like, 5 inches away. It's a weird choice. Okay, there wasn't anything.
It just slows you down slightly.
I mean, it's just like there's a benefit to using it in some places, but just not here. Just kind of introducing you to the concept, I guess. Somebody who remembers, remind me, was this distinctly a launch game, or was this just early in the Game Boy Advance's life?
It was not at launch.
Okay.
I want to say launch was.
It came out in 2003.
I want to say launch games were Castlevania, F-Zero, Super Mario Land, or Super Mario Advance 2.
Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Advance 1.
Yeah. That one.
But yeah, no,
Super Mario Advance 1 is basically Super Mario Deluxe 2.
There was a port of Earthworm Jim that was the launch title.
Oh yeah, God, that was right.
The GBA launch also included a port of the original Rayman for some reason.
The original one, not Rayman 2.
Like it's basically them flexing like how much they can get of the PS1 version in there, and it's kind of impressive, but it's also just like ugh. Also, Rayman 1 was hard enough at its original resolution. At GBA resolution, it's like this game wants you to die.
The Castlevania one was the one with the cards.
Yep.
Yep, DSS system, baby.
I have fond memories of Circle of the Moon, but I have not replayed it recently.
That's usually better off. Like, it's not a terrible game, but the DSS system is the game's best feature, and it's nearly impossible to get enough cards if you aren't cheating for it to really use it. Why is Wario throwing a potato?
Because it's all he's got.
Potato.
Here comes potato. Here comes potato. Remember the last Wario Land game?
Which one would that be?
The Shake Dimension. Shake it.
Oh yeah. Screw that noise.
It's better than Wario Master of Disguise, for whatever that's worth.
Oh,
which
Master
is
of
not
Disguise. Master of Disguise, I maintain this, should be the game that led to WarioWare. However, it is after WarioWare, and it's like, guys, you already figured out how to do this better in every conceivable way.
There's no
Why
reason
does
that
this
you should be
exist?
like this.
Yes. Why? Why did you think this was okay? Like, that was 100% what was happening there. Because it's just basically a mini-game collection with a 2D framing. And why they bothered with such is just, I have genuinely no idea.
I forget which of the weird partner studios made that one. Let me check. It does at least share a name with an extremely bad movie, so that's fun.
Turtle.
That film, I love the fact that film is 65 minutes long. It is desperately trying to reach feature length.
And I seem to recall it like started 9/11 or something.
No,
The Turtle Club scene was the first scene filmed, and it was filmed on 9/11.
That's
So-
horrible.
There's really no way of saying if there is or is not a connection between that and 9/11. I mean, just
They
throw that out
allegedly had a
there.
moment of silence when they heard about it.
Yeah.
Turtle.
Okay, so Wario Master of Disguise was made by Suzak, which is one of Nintendo, like one of those like studios that made a lot of weird miscellaneous stuff for Nintendo that you don't remember because they're things like Boing Dokomodake DS. But they seem to have died out sometime around the Wii. But they made the GBA F-Zero games as well, which would probably be the closest thing to a fond memory anyone has of Suzak.
Pretty much. Although, did anyone see that Yu-Gi-Oh collection that came out today? Or, like, this week?
Yeah,
Like, it has all
featuring
of
a
the
bunch of
Yu-Gi-Oh.
previously unreleased in America Game Boy games from before the card game had a standardized rule set.
Yeah, no, it's just everything about it is like, wait, what?
It's such a criminal thing to exist.
I mean, I just appreciate. I mean, anytime I see a collection that is that intensive, I get excited. But just,
I mean, I kind of want to play it just because it's weird.
I mean, I'm definitely going to buy it at some point, just to like fiddle around with it. Let's say.
Wait. The card game did not exist until after the anime.
So the card game did not like. There was a different card game that had barely any rules. But bear in mind, the manga was not originally about card games. The manga was about a whole bunch of different games. The last arc of the manga that got adapted into the anime was not about card games. It was about a giant tabletop RPG campaign. Like, Kazuki Takahashi, who I have actually a great deal of respect for, I love the fact that before he died, he got in trouble with his publisher because on his Instagram he was posting drawings of Yugi and Kaiba telling his followers to vote against Shinzo Abe and hate. So, R.I.P. Kazuki Takahashi, he was a real one. But the card game came up because it was one of like he wanted to kind of a combination of like horror, friendship, and games because those were the things he cared about. The card game comes up because he's big into Magic the Gathering, which is why in the first manga chapter, the card game is called Magic and Wizards. And then after that became popular, the second anime adaptation becomes all about the card game, but the card game still does not have like a solid rule set, which is why the first season of the card game is deranged and has essentially no rules. Then eventually Konami licenses it for games, but again, the card game doesn't really have a rule set yet, so a bunch of the games have like slightly different rules as they kind of try to figure out how the game should actually play to sort of look like the show but not be completely deranged.
I played
derangement was what I loved about the show.
The what?
The derangement was what I loved about the show.
The derangement is the most fun part, but if you're going to sell people cards to play together, they're going to need to be less deranged. Which is not to say that, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! As a card game is not a freak mutant machine. Like, nowadays, modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in such a state that it is a problem that many, if not most decks have a win condition that allows them to win essentially on turn one, and if they're particularly a problem, before the opponent gets a turn. It's a problem. It's a problem, but it's a fascinating problem because it's a mutant card game. But yeah, like eventually, they congealed a rule set based around how people were, like the Game Boy games and how people were responding to them. And that's when they started, like Konami started making its physical cards. Previously, they were cards that you would essentially get out of a like gachapon machine produced by Bandai.
And I know there's two different like variants of the card game which are like mostly alike but not exactly alike, and like cards that are banned in one are not banned in the other or some shit like that.
You could be talking about a few things. You could be talking about speed dueling. You could be talking about Duel Links, which is very similar to speed dueling but is a mobile game.
Dice Monsters.
Dungeon Dice Monsters is like the perfect expression of the kind of thing Kazuki Takahashi liked to do, because like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Chapters would end with like, here's a very basic game that you can play. Because Kazuki Takahashi just liked games as a concept. Again, I have a lot of respect for the man, actually. But yeah, like Dungeon Dice Monsters, they kind of tried to make something out of. Capsule Chess, they kind of tried to make something out of.
I meant like there's the official card game and there's the trading card game.
Okay, so those are, yeah, that's the, and what's funny is that, so one of those is the Japanese one. That's the official card game, and that was meant to be a way to distinguish it from the card game that Bandai had put out. And then there's Yu-Gi-Oh! The trading card game. That's the American one. And yeah, as you said, they have very similar rule sets, but not completely identical, which makes the world tournaments, like the top bracket world tournaments, extremely strange because they are contested under a third rule set that is not quite the same as either.
Is it like what is it like when the well, I think the rules are more similar now, but like in the World Series, like, you know, I believe the American
the National League and the American League have slight differences in how rules are contested.
And I think it was like they would follow the rule set of whoever stadium they were playing at the time or something.
Yep.
No. These have a third separate ban list. What's especially funny is some of the cards are extremely format warping. So, like, for a very long time, there's a card called Max C. And what it does is if you play it on your opponent's turn, you get to draw a card every time they special summon a monster. Now, the thing is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is fucked up, and there have existed times where the correct response to that was to special summon until you decked your opponent out. That card has been banned in America for, like, more than a decade, but continued floating around the Japanese meta for years and years and years. And that just was, you know, it's just what we do now. We, like, it's the World Tournament time. God only knows whether it'll be allowed. But, yeah, it's a really mutant card game. So I am eternally fascinated by it.
And then you've also got
like
things like the Egyptian god cards that have like 17 associated rules just for playing them.
Well, that's the thing. They don't. The anime gives them that. Infamously, in the card game, they're completely worthless because they're so hard to get on the field, and they can be destroyed by anything that is not just attack over it. And there's so many ways to just explode your opponent's field for nothing. Like,
so is it like the trading card game is played in the West and the original card game is played in Asia, or is there something?
The official card game exists in Japan and Asia. The trading card game exists in the US and Europe.
And then if there's ever an international tournament, they have to play by a third weird...
Yeah, the World Tournament rule set is a third different ban list that incorporates elements of both.
A different ban list.
That's wild.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is also a mutant card game because it has no set rotation at all. The only mechanism for which a card can be removed from, like, competitive is if it is explicitly, like, banned, limited, or semi-limited. So you can normally have 3, can semi-limit it to 2, can limit it to 1, or you can ban it, but that's the only way to get cards out of the game.
Oh, so it's like it's like if all Magic was played in the format that led
like Eternal. And it's fucked up. It has produced so many, like, truly combos where, like, combos made of, like, a card that came out this year and a card that came out before the current, like, World Tournament players were born. Like, put together in some unholy combo. Every few years they'll introduce another completely absurd mechanic that allows you to just vomit forth monsters from your deck.
I mean, you talk about everything clearing the board or whatever. Like, my one major playing experience with Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the Gameboy Advance game that was based on the, like, city tournament or something like that. I don't remember the exact details.
I'm just gonna assume that it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Worldwide Edition 2002 Stairway to the Destined Duel.
Let's go with yes. But like that was my first time really, really playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And definitely my reaction to it was like, all right, I set up these really cool things. Like I'm going to be able to summon these great monsters. And then immediately it's like, okay, they just played something that completely obliterates your hand.
Yeah,
Like,
that happens a lot.
It was like playing a Dragon Warrior final or Dragon Quest final boss where you spend like,
And you just get you just get hit with the instant death spell that instantly kills everyone.
yeah, or well, I was thinking more like you do all the buffs and then it does that like disruptive wave.
that cone of that freezing wind or whatever.
Yeah, that like okay, everything's gone now.
Yeah, old school. Like one of the first sets of Yu-Gi-Oh has a card called Raigeki, and all it does is your opponent's entire field is destroyed. And people don't even bother playing that anymore because a lot of people want all their stuff in the graveyard anyway. They have had to come up with like 3 different ways to throw something out of the field in order to like make it progressively more impossible to interact with. So you send it to the graveyard. That doesn't matter in most modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Because almost every major competitive deck has tons of stuff that it needs in the graveyard anyway, and that combos off of being in the graveyard. There is banishing it, where it goes into it just sits technically outside of play, but there are cards that interact with banished cards. So you get things like Return from a Different Dimension, where like players would intentionally banish huge chunks of their deck and then play a card that just allowed them to pull out a bunch of banished cards. And that was like their entire win condition. And then, because that became a problem, there were too many things that interacted with banished cards. The power creep continued, and now there was a second type of banishing face down, where the idea was that even though the player is allowed to know what is face down banished, according to the game state, no card in the game knows what that is to interact with it.
Wait,
and there are like so like the idea is the cards the card can only interact with things that are face up revealed, and so these face down banished cards, they can't, like cards that interact with banished cards can't interact with face down banished cards.
Like banished for real this time.
Yeah, they really basically just came up with banished for real this time. Like this time we fucking mean it.
No, you can't have it back.
And there are still things that can interact with face down banished cards. They're just much rarer. But if a card, like for example, if a card's name or type is not specified, so like if it says, oh, you can retrieve a banished card, if its name and type are not specified, like, so for example, if something says, oh, this interacts with banished monsters. If a monster is banished, like, the card has to know what it is. So, like, if the card is banished face down and it says it interacts with banished monsters, you can't, even though you know what you banished, you know what's, that there are banished monsters in that face down banished pile, officially they are...
does not know.
Yeah, the game state does not officially know what they are.
If you don't know, your character doesn't know.
But if the card simply said interacts with banished cards, like retrieve a banished card, that would allow you to interact with a face down banished card, because the only thing it needed to be was that the card was banished. I'm sorry that I've cheapened your lives by explaining this.
I understand Yu-Gi-Oh! Better.
Yay!
Like in Magic, they take care to be more infrequent with cards that interact with exiled cards. I assume.
Yeah.
Whereas in
Magic also has the advantage of it has set rotation, so if something is too powerful, they can just wait until it goes away. They don't have to keep trying to find new ways to deal with it. There's like this deck called Dragon Rulers, and I think 90% of its cards have been have been banned for like 13 years.
But are they banned face down?
What was that?
Isn't banned an abbreviation of banished?
I don't know. Get the dictionary on the line. But,
Hello, dictionary here.
but yeah, I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a bad card game, but it's a really fascinating card game, so I like it anyway. Like, I don't like playing card games that much, but if I'm gonna play one, I want to play one that, like, is made by true sickos.
Yeah, still one of my, God, going back to Twitter, like, random, if I had infinite time in the world, would be to rewatch Yu-Gi-Oh! And essentially live tweet about it. Because
it's a very strange show.
It goes in some directions, let's put it that way. Like,
that curry was what I needed.
I'm
Where's
glad
it
to
from?
hear curry has helped you.
Where was it from?
You're never getting an answer, Callie Scrub.
What was the question?
Where was
Where
it from?
Oh, it was a Japanese curry from a local place.
Okay.
I usually end up getting either Japanese or Indian curries.
I was shocked to learn that basically what my family has been making as curry for years is pretty much closer to tikka masala than actual curry. But I'm not
I mean,
complaining.
that's not a bad thing.
I was about to say, that's like, it's just kind of like, you know...
It's just different. It's just not what
more
you were
of
expecting.
like a bookkeeping issue than anything else.
we need to understand what we're doing here.
Yeah. And it's still not exactly tikka masala, but it might be close.
Oh yeah, I mean, no home recipe is like that beholden to something.
Exactly.
Like
but my
Master
father
of
and I are
Disguise
still
actually-
trying to figure out where my Pennsylvania Dutch grandmother got a recipe for curry in the first place.
What were you saying about Master of Disguise?
It actually made money somehow.
I mean, it was very cheap to produce.
Yeah, like that was like a $20 movie.
Like most of it is Dana Carvey being obnoxious.
But wasn't it like an actual passion project for Dana Carvey? Like, wasn't it something like...
I've heard claims to that effect.
Like, on some level, it was something he had in mind for years or something?
I was reading the Roger Ebert review of it a few days ago, and I kind of
As you
loved
do.
how savage it is. Let me see if I can find this. No, Disguise is not spelled with a Q. Okay.
Roger
AI
Ebert
suggestion?
saw the overall movie as being, quote, like a party guest who thinks he is funny and is wrong.
The Master of Disguise
That is
pants
brutal.
and wheezes and hurls itself exhausted across the finish line after barely 65 minutes of movie, and then follows it with 15 minutes of end credits in an attempt to clock in as a feature film. We get outtakes, deleted scenes, flub lines, and all the other versions of the credits cookie, which was once a cute idea, but it's getting to be a bore. The credits
what?
go on and on and on. The movie is like a party guest who thinks he is funny and it's wrong. The end credits are like the same guest taking too long to leave. At one point, they at least mercifully seem to be over, and the projectionist even closed the curtains. But no, there was Dana Carvey, still visible against a red velvet, asking us what we were still doing in the theater. That is a dangerous question to ask after a movie like The Master of Disguise.
Did it say it was a
Ebert also
credits
noted
cookie?
that
Yes, that is an old school term for a mid-credits scene.
Gotcha.
Ebert
Never
also
actually heard
noted that
that,
the
but I
film
like
is
it.
only 65 minutes long, but includes 15 minutes of credit cookies in order to qualify as a feature presentation. Jamie Russell at the BBC described the film as being so bad as to make other movies such as Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, seem like comic equivalents to Citizen Kane.
Deuce Bigelow! I mean, that was a joke for so damn long of like, oh, what's the movie? Oh, it's like Deuce Bigelow. like that was our rubric.
That was the standard by which other movies were judged.
Yeah.
They were dark times.
But this seems to have introduced a new standard, the Master of Disguise.
I mean, I could definitely
Has
just say.
Ebert ever gone on record?
That's the thing, though. I think like
movie
people will remember Master of Disguise. I don't think people remember Master of Disguise. People definitely remember Deuce Bigelow.
I mean, I feel like it depends on what you were watching at the time, because I remember Master of Disguise being advertised every 30 seconds when it was coming out.
Yeah, I mean, but like if you say Master of Disguise, people go, "Oh, yeah, that, I guess." If you say Deuce Bigelow, people go, "Oh yeah, that." One of them like looms larger in the public conscious, is what I'm saying.
We need to have a distinct survey to find out which is more popular.
Not popular, remembered. Because like until Fanboy brought up Master of Disguise, I genuinely forgot it existed at all.
Garou.
As far as Ebert's
Mark of the Wolf.
least favorite movie, I remember he really hated. Was it Freddy Got Fingered?
He was
Oh,
really
yeah.
displeased with Freddy Got Fingered. An understandable response to Freddy Got Fingered. Perhaps even the response it desired.
Freddy Got Fingered is. I feel like I need to see that one. I feel like that one must be like experienced at least once.
It's honestly, I would say, for all the flack it ever got, like, I don't know what people were expecting from a Tom Green movie. Like, were you familiar with the Bum Bum song? Like, where did you think this
I just
was
remember
going to
hearing
go?
the phrase, "Daddy, would you like some sausages?"
Daddy, would you like some sausages?
I've seen multiple people review it and say it's actually really funny. Like it's not good, but it is in fact very funny. And yeah, I kind of want to see it.
I mean, I still think the best Tom Green performance out there was his appearance on Clone High, where it's a very special episode about ADD and ADHD. And Tom Green can't get through like a sentence without just changing subject and going insane.
I like how you just keep getting your ass beat by this same, like, Yeti.
Yeah. And I don't ever kill it, which would actually take care of this problem.
But, yeah, that was a very, like, that was a big deal for about 18 total minutes. And then, I think Tom Green had cancer, and he kind of left the shock jock business.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah,
Like, the main thing
he survived from what I recall, but
Yeah, no, he's definitely still around, if memory serves.
yeah.
I mean, the thing that I'm always reminded of with Tom Green was, speaking of the Bum Bum song, was that the Bum Bum song came out in Total Request Live era. And against all odds, people loved it. And Tom Green literally had to, like, get on TRL and be like, yeah, this isn't what MTV is for. We're going to have to retire it. Like, you can't vote for the Bum Bum song anymore. Please go back to voting for Backstreet Boys. like the system broke down because of Tom Green.
This movie does not scrape the bottom of the barrel. This movie isn't the bottom of the barrel. This movie isn't below the bottom of the barrel. This movie does not deserve to be mentioned in the same sentence with barrels. Many years ago, when surrealism was new, Luis Buñuel and Salvador Dali made Un Chien Andalou, a film so shocking that Buñuel filled his pockets with stones to throw at the audience if it attacked him. Green, whose film is in the surrealist tradition, may want to consider the same tactic. The day may come when Freddy Got Fingered is seen as a milestone of neo-surrealism. The day may never come when it is seen as funny.
Was that Ebert?
Yep.
Nice.
The film is a vomitorium consisting of 93 minutes of Tom Green doing things that a geek in a carnival sideshow would turn down. 6 minutes into the film, his character leaps from his car to wag a horse penis. This is,
What?
we discover, a framing device to be matched by a scene late in the film when he sprays his father with elephant semen straight from the source.
What?
Yep. How to tell somebody hasn't seen this movie before?
I was zoned out like this whole time. Like, just,
I want to also point out
I
that the
zoned
film came
back-
out at least 5 years before you were born.
I zoned back in when I heard the word horse penis and elephant semen.
I mean, I want to state again, what did anybody expect from a movie called Freddy Got Fingered? like this.
I don't think that Ebert expected highbrow, but I do think that that he expected better. I think a lot about the one time that Ebert went back and re-rated a film.
Go on.
God, I forget what one it was. It's like it's essentially a kaiju flick. And like a year or so, it was like Inframan, maybe. Yeah, I think it's Inframan. The Ebert actually went back and was like, you know what? I think about this movie a lot, and I think I should have rated it at least a half a star higher.
It's just such a weird thing to have to revisit.
But yeah, I just love the idea that he just was like, you know what? I like Inframan. I should have been nicer to Inframan.
I should have been nicer to this. I just like the idea that he's like lying awake at night thinking about the movie. Like, you know what? You know what? I should have rated better.
I just love that, like, you know, most of the ratings, like, you know, the man reviewed like 1,000 movies, and somehow that was the only one where he's like, you know what? I could have been nicer to Inframan.
Do here? I'm missing. Like, you can't jump as a snowball. I gotta do something.
Sentences that are normal to say.
Figuring out what to do with Wario. The thing about Wario that always gets me is Wario is such like an obvious antagonist for Mario, and it's so weird to me that there was a period of time when Mario existed without Wario. like they came to this idea later.
It was a short period relative to the entire existence of Mario.
Yes, I mean in the grand scheme of things, but like Super Mario Brothers 3 could not conceive of a Wario.
I mean, I feel like Wario is, like I'm trying to think, but like Mario and Wario, like Wario is the so said antagonist of surprisingly few Mario games, right?
Of course.
Like,
Yeah, no, it's basically Super Mario Land 3, and then he just sort of fucks off and does his own thing.
Yeah, he's like, well, screw. Why would I fight this guy again?
This
Yeah,
guy doesn't even have
like-
any money. Like, as far as Wario is concerned, when he looks at Mario, it's like, this motherfucker doesn't even have any money. Why would I bother?
which is insane because Mario collects coins all the time.
Yeah, but when was the last time you saw him spend one? He just gets rid of them.
Just throws them away.
Spend one. I saw Mario in a casino. He was there.
The world's least
I'm pretty
rich
sure.
casino.
I'm pretty sure the Mario is like the sole financer of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Well, I always assumed he's just recollecting everything. Like, Bowser basically stole it all and then is kind of, like, scattered it on the way back to his castle. And, like, if Mario doesn't get that, then, like, the Mushroom Kingdom doesn't have healthcare. So, like, that's why he is rewarded for it.
I don't know if toads get sick. They're technically fungus.
I mean, just because you can't die doesn't mean you can't get sick.
That's true.
Like, there's a quality of life that a toad is used to. There must be something I'm missing here. Or I'm just going to spend the entire rest of the night in this room.
No one man, no one is at your command.
Definitely not going to work.
Apparently just had, like, the Beatles back in my head. This is people in Beats Discord's fault.
What's mine now?
Oh, me having the Beatles back in my head.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I have pretty encyclopedic Beatles knowledge. It's horrible.
Yeah, that sounds like it sucks.
Oh, that
No, it's
magic
not. It's actually
feeling.
pretty good.
Probably because I mentioned it at some point.
It did come up, and then there was some discussion. Let me tell you about reading A Hard Day's Right multiple times.
Why did you read it multiple times?
Because I thought
wouldn't you?
this trivia was interesting.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, if I like nonfiction a lot. Like, that's generally one of my favorite. Like, I just enjoy reading nonfiction, and so if it's a subject I care about, I will read it multiple times just to fully absorb
I am
it.
amazed to hear that Fanboy Master is a fan of nonfiction. Like, who would have ever guessed that Fanboy Master is in the trivia?
I do believe he just dragged you, fanboy. What are you gonna do
Yeah, but
about
Goggle
that?
Bob, why would I care about what he thinks?
Oh,
See,
damn,
there
good
you
point.
Hey, are we all excited that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 got announced?
Yeah, who's
Yeah,
actually
it
handling
looks like
that?
it's gonna
Didn't
be
get
good.
announced, but was leaked by Singaporean ratings board.
Well,
I mean,
also,
like, that's a pretty good way to.
I don't know if
what
you
is
Pretty
were
good way to get the word out.
like following the news, but I think Tony Hawk distinctly said something was coming. Like before
He
that,
said that they were preparing something last year. A different pro skater was like, "Yeah, I'm in the new Tony Hawk," which had not been announced yet. And now it's been rated by the Singaporean ratings board for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
there were
So this
signs
is
and
the
portents.
ratings board indicator like 100%, or has there been?
It's a government thing. They aren't just making shit up. Also, they have an announcement for March 4th. Consider what those numbers are.
Wow.
3, 4, yeah.
Good to still have you here, Jamie.
Yeah,
It's always good to have you around.
Yeah, no, I just mean we got so used to not having you.
Yeah.
We've got a genie back. What is it I'm missing here?
Yeah, you've been fucking around in this exact snowy room for like 8 hours.
Yeah, no, there's
Yeah,
something...
this is like where my patience with Wario Land games wears thin.
Yeah.
There's definitely something I'm supposed to be able to do here that... Like, there's something...
Like,
that needs to be
inevitably,
broken,
like, the
or-
fact that the game is slow and I reach a level like this where I'm just like, I don't know what to do, and then I just put the game down and never play it again.
Yep.
there's
Sounds about
something-
right.
Going over here doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it's, like, I was filled with childlike joy. It's just like, Tony Hawk 3 and 4 are coming back. I love those games.
That's good.
I do love that we live in a world where, like, people are watching, like, the rating boards for where? Like, Taiwan?
Taiwan, Korea. I've seen ratings leak games from Taiwan, Korea, and in this case, Singapore.
I mean, I just love the idea that people are watching that for like the latest news.
It's
Also,
one of those things. Like,
I saw that the latest Fable game is being delayed again, and my reaction was, "There's gonna be a latest Fable game." Like,
yeah, it's being made by the people that make the fun Forza games.
okay then.
Because like there's the boring Forza games that are like yes, here is a very this is our attempt at Gran Turismo, and then there's the more fun ones where it's like this is an open world game and stupid shit can happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, stupid shit could happen is the ideal form of Fable, as far as I'm concerned. So.
Yeah, no, I honestly think that the Playground games will probably make that game happen. I know my brother was a big fan of like Fable 2. And like he was looking at like the most recent footage, and he was like, "Oh man, this is exactly what I want."
Yeah, no, Fable 2, I would argue, was like the best of the Fable.
That was the peak of the form.
Like Fable 3 had some neat ideas, and if you understood what was happening with those ideas, it was a good game. Other than that, it's got problems, but. Because Fable 3 pulls...
I do respect it for rewarding you for creating like a weird communist utopia where you control all the... Where you essentially guarantee housing by controlling all the real estate and refusing to charge money.
Yes, the fact that Fable 3 you can become the weirdest king is ideal. Or queen, as the case may be.
Yeah.
But
the weirdest monarch.
The weirdest monarch, yes. Because definitely you could do that, but I'm still angry at Fable 3 because it pulls this dumb shit thing of telling you have like a year until the aliens invade or whatever the hell's happening, and then it winds up being like 3 in-game days. And it's like...
I do think that that's an interesting thing.
It is an interesting thing, and when you know it's coming, it's like, okay, I can
you should
deal
go
with it.
left where you went right, just there. I think you'll be able to
Goggle Bob does not learn things.
Thanks to the stream delay, I have no idea where that was.
Go west, young man.
So get a snowball again.
Okay.
And then go down.
Like back up at the top.
Okay, so I got my snowball. Now go all the way down?
Yeah, go all the way down. And then go to the left instead of the right and fall on that slope. And you should be able to...
Oh, and you go up. See? That was the solution. Thank you. See? We're all working together.
I'm really more just baffled that you had no other like thoughts as to how this would work.
Look, I have trouble with my left and my right. It happens.
I understand that it can be a little confusing because the background tiles and the game is relying on you noticing that, but man, you were here for 30 minutes.
I am having fun with friends, okay?
Mario's early years, fun with numbers.
Yes. Yeah, we should play Donkey Kong Jr. Math sometime.
How do you play Donkey Kong Jr. English?
I thought it was Popeye English.
Ah, shit. No, wait, there was a Donkey Kong Jr. other thing, other educational subject that got canceled, I think. See if I can find this. I accidentally typed Donkey Jr.
Now we got problems.
Okay, Donkey Kong no Ongaku Asobi.
Of course.
Yep. And it would have been essentially the musical equivalent of Donkey Kong Jr. Math.
So, wait, what were you learning then?
You were learning about music.
Like, how to make music, or...
Like reading sheet music and that kind of thing. Music quiz would seem to involve making bassist, making your Kong play displayed notes by hammering piano keys.
Interesting.
And then there was Donkey Band, which relied on you singing into the Famicom's Player 2 microphone.
Donkey Band.
I'd like to also point out that this is being made more confusing by the fact that this horrible fan wiki keeps referring to the original Donkey Kong as Cranky Kong in order to comport with the lore.
Oh no!
I hate that lore. Does that mean it refers to Donkey Kong Jr. as Donkey Kong?
No, it's referring because there's a different version of the lore that says that Donkey Kong Jr. is not the is not the Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong.
Okay.
So they're comporting to the
what
version.
You're saying, but I disagree.
Yeah,
with
it would make sense if Cranky Kong is that Donkey Kong's grandpa.
Yeah, like they're comporting with the most current version of the lore, which says that Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong, but that he is Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong's grandfather.
So Donkey Kong Jr. was Donkey Kong's father.
Yes.
Okay.
I will not understand any of this. I don't think
That's
I
fine.
want to.
The
Donkeys are in the
lore of
Bible, but
Donkey
Kongs
Kong.
aren't.
King
Donkey Kong
Kong
Jr. Donkey Kong Jr. like genealogical trees.
Dixie Kong is a cousin.
Oh no!
I hope-
Oh,
I hope
I
not.
hope not.
Yeah. Love how everyone immediately had that reaction.
She's also supposed to be Diddy's girlfriend. That's why I said I hope not.
well, maybe it's a cousin on a different side of the family tree.
Yeah, like I'll just assume that they're in like that FDR getting roasted by Teddy Roosevelt about keeping the family name in the family levels of distant cousins.
You know, I always thought that Franklin and Eleanor were first cousins, but apparently they were fourth cousins.
Yeah, they were fourth cousins, just that by dint of like family name dynamics, they had just happened to keep the same last name. But yeah, I think a lot about fucking Teddy Roosevelt being like, always good to keep the family name in the family in response to that.
Okay, guys, I gotta get going here.
Okay,
All right,
see you
okay.
later.
Have a
Always
good
good to have
one.
you.
Thank you for your assistance.
Bye.
In conclusion, Donkey Kong Jr. Science. Where is it? Welcome to Mario Teaches Typing. Big fan of the part where Charles Martinet asks you as Mario to give you his computer, to give him your computer.
As Mario.
Like he's just like, oh, that's a nice computer. Can I have it?
Give it to me.
I think Mario and Mavis Beacon should get together.
I'm
I
not
think
ready
they
for that
already
shit.
have.
They already have.
Look, there's
He's gonna go
definitely
write
some
that
sort
on
of
his
like professional.
fanfiction.net account.
There's definitely some sort of like typing teacher, like professional events. Who's to say they haven't drunkenly made out behind the building?
I'm just waiting for Beat to open up its fanfiction.net account after 10 long years.
No, can't do. I'm downloading Gungrave Gore.
Oh yeah.
You made your purchase.
Yes, I did.
Like I think it was on sale for like $16.
It was a pretty decent price point, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, that Switch version added Rocket Billy Red Cadillac, so
The best character.
his name is Rocket Billy Red Cadillac. I felt that was already obvious.
Yeah, like certain things should not need to
It's
be
one of
stated.
those things,
because-
like, for those of you following along at home that need to be aware.
Imagine thinking that our audience wouldn't
Characters can have
understand.
cool names.
I'm just saying, I don't like. He is a ghost inside of an electric guitar, and his name is Rocket Billy Red Cadillac.
That is a cool name.
I mean, we played Gungrave, what, 2 years ago now? Gosh, time flies.
Yeah, a little while ago.
Like time sure does fly. God bless Rocket Billy Red Cadillac.
I mean, he's an undead ghost, so I don't know if God bless is the appropriate term. Like, he's kind of an affront to God.
Being a ghost is not inherently being an affront to God.
I think it is. I think it exists outside of what was described in the like his son was supposed to have like the monopoly on coming back from the dead, and here's ghosts.
They weren't. These ghosts aren't really doing much with it, though.
Doesn't it make it better or worse? It's like you're damning yourself and you're just hanging around in this house.
Well, actually, he's hanging around in a guitar.
Yeah, which is much smarter because you can just pick up a guitar and take it
Yeah,
around.
like imagine haunting something that you can just carry on your person, so you can just go anywhere.
This is convenient.
Like that's how you can tell that Billy has the way of things. Billy knows what's up.
Like a poor choice would be, say, haunting an elevator.
Yeah, like that sucks.
Yeah,
Like,
nobody
that's
likes
trash.
Never
Everyone
die
hates
in an
that.
elevator. For that
I
reason.
will never
no.
die in an elevator. I simply wouldn't.
You would just refuse.
I would wait until I stepped out of the elevator and then keel over naturally, so I could at least have the run of the building.
Killed him.
Alternatively, I would just simply say that I died on Earth, and therefore I should be allowed to haunt that. I am
not how
rules
that
lawyering
works.
being a ghost.
I mean, like, does anyone here have an experience with talking to whoever determines hauntings?
The Haunting starring Poltergeist?
Yes. Ideal Genesis game.
Extremely Electronic Arts of the era.
God. I mean, that was a game I really wanted to love as a kid, and just how it implements everything but its signature whatever is such crap.
Remember how
There's a final
EA
boss.
released a retro collection exclusively for the PSP featuring
Yes.
Haunting starring Poltergeist
That was
and
so
a random
inexplicable.
assortment of like ports of nonsense. Like, do you want the PC version of Ultimate 7? No, go fuck yourself. Here's the Super Nintendo version. Do you want the PC version of Wing Commander? Go fuck yourself. Here's the Super Nintendo version.
I mean, I will
But here's
say that
Budokan the Martial Spirit. You love that, right?
there were a number of weird collections on the PSP, and I genuinely wonder, like, what was the thinking there?
I think it was that, like, well, it's strong enough to emulate old platforms, but, like, our new games aren't selling that good. Remember the PSP remake of Crusader No Remorse?
No.
I can honestly say no, I don't.
No, it didn't actually come out. They just announced it and then never did anything.
So it just never existed at all.
Yeah, they showed some footage of it. But yeah,
Okay, so it might have theoretically existed at some point, perhaps.
someone was trying. I seem to recall. Yeah, if you jump up and grab that while you're on fire, it fucks up the gem.
I just like that this whole level is basically like a Wario pinball. Wario spinball.
That's just cruel to call it that.
Casino Nights Wario.
There you go.
Hell,
that'll work.
Spring Yard Zone. Wait, no. Wario is the type to just pick up the ball and cheat with it instead of making trick shots. Remember the GameCube Wario game?
Yes.
WarioWare GameCube version?
No,
No.
Wario World by Treasure.
I was gonna say Wario
Oh.
Treasure.
It's got a lot of Wario doing spinning pile drivers, which should be awesome, and isn't.
Yeah, it was
At
like a
all, it's
Wario boring beat 'em up. Like, it was not good.
Wario is doing battle with a giant crystal that turned all of his riches into monsters. It has like a button where like you just stuck in pressure and Wario makes an awful face. Also, every time you pause the game, Wario just goes nya 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 for as long as the game is paused. It makes you
very
regret having
Wario
turned
thing.
it on in the first place.
There's a lot of regrets involved in that game.
So yeah, just do giant swings and spinning pile drivers for 5 minutes until you get bored.
I was going to say, and then the game is, on top of everything else, weirdly short.
Oh yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want it to be longer because there's just not a lot to it. It sort of feels like they didn't fully ever work out like what is the selling point to this game.
And I want to say, this is a weird thing, but like every console I feel has like one game that's $8 forever. Like something that was
The
expected
Order,
to do well.
1886.
Yes, it was something that was expected to do well, and it lives in discount bins forever. And I
Yeah,
don't
like
think Wario World
everyone,
was it.
someone assumed that this would be at least a moderate hit, and it sold to no one. But stores were persuaded to buy enough copies that they aren't really ready to send. Like, there's no real mechanism to send them back.
Like, there's probably still Walmarts that are selling it to this day.
I
would not
remember
be
one of my
surprised.
favorite things in Walmarts for a while was just seeing what PS2 games they still had. Saw a lot of triple packs of Tekken 4, Tekken Tag Tournament, and Soul Calibur 2 on PS2.
Oh, that was a good pack. If I
Yeah,
didn't
no, I
already
picked it
own,
up.
Good back, yeah.
if I didn't already own all three of those games, I'd buy it again.
Like that was good value. I got that for like $10. I remember one of the things that like made me wish I was dead was Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, which is a pretty good game, was re-released when Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands came out to go along with the movie. And they changed its box art to look like Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands on every, like the box art they'd given that on every other platform. But it was still just Sands of Time. It was
Interesting choice.
really weirdly deceptive marketing.
Ubisoft being deceptive?
No.
Like it was a very strange move to make. I like how there's like 3 different versions of Forgotten Sands, because there's like the Xbox 360 and PS3 version, there's the DS version, and there's the Wii version that doesn't have the same story or play like either. Also, there's a DS Prince of Persia strategy card game.
That doesn't count.
Battles of Prince of Persia.
Wasn't Assassin's Creed sort of supposedly the follow-up to Sands of Time games? Just a little
So
bit.
Assassin's Creed was first like pitched as like Prince of Persia Assassin or something.
Huh.
And then it was too distinct. It was too different. It didn't make sense for it to like. The only thing that it was sort of keeping was that the first one was set in the Middle East, so they kind of just ultimately threw that out. But when it was first pitched internally, it was Prince of Persia Assassin.
Okay. I thought there was some like tiny bit of connection between the two.
But yeah, like I feel bad because like, you know, there's clearly passionate people at Ubisoft who can make interesting games. I mean, like that Prince of Persia from last year was pretty good. And then like all of its developers were put to work in the mines making things no one should ever play or want. Like I remember when Ubisoft's upper management was going all in on like, we'll do Ghost Recon NFTs, like the internal like Ubisoft discussion was like, we hate this. No one wants to be involved with this. Why will you not listen? This is a bad idea. So like I feel bad for their workers, like I do just about anywhere, but like especially just with how bad Ubisoft's upper management is.
It's not great. It's
I mean,
actually
really-
quite miserable.
It does have to be terrible to be stuck in a situation where you know for a fact, like, it's just your boss is chasing the latest trend, and this is never going to go anywhere. This is barely a video game.
Vimbio game. But yeah, I love I do genuinely like that Prince of Persia from last year. That was actually a pretty good game.
People seem to really like that one.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid Metroidvania.
I was going to say, it's a Metroidvania. It knows what it's doing. It's
Yeah,
solid stuff.
upper management was upset that their Prince of Persia Metroidvania did not do as well as Metroid Dread.
That's an insane thing to expect.
A Metroid
Yeah,
Dread,
like,
a
this
game
was-
that was expected for something like 15 years?
Yeah,
Like,
a game that had been like rumored about for many years that has like a rabid fan base desperate to prove the importance of their franchise. Like there was just a lot going into that.
and also just in general, whereas Prince of Persia definitely was a Metroidvania, there's no reason to expect it to be that. Like, it's not like an established
Yeah.
genre, no matter.
It was not an ill-conceived move for the franchise. Like that
Oh,
is
yeah,
a
but just
reasonable place to
expecting
take
it
it.
to
But it was
do-
also
As well as, when you talk about a Metroidvania, Metroid is part of the name. Like,
yeah. We never came up with a better thing to call these than just using this franchise's names.
yeah, and just like that kind of gives you the impression it might have a leg up. Like,
A little bit of legacy, and like again, Lost Crown didn't do badly. It sold more than 1 million units, which is a pretty rare thing for that genre.
yeah,
Like this did well, and then they got sent into like the mines because like someone 15 years ago agreed to that there needed to be Beyond Good and Evil 2 no matter what form it took, and now they are trapped with a game that they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on, and thus cannot write off and cancel.
Beyond
They
Good
really
and Evil.
probably should, though. I mean, like,
Oh, they 100% should. That can never make its money back.
It's going to be a roguelike card game.
Like it's been everything, and like even
it's
the
gonna be a
the
fucking
true,
NFT project at this rate.
even a true devotee of the franchise, that's not the game any of them wanted either, because it's a prequel and the original ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, but it was a cliffhanger based on the pig, so,
Beloved character Paige.
Love character that pig guy.
Why are you doing this to this poor old man who seems
That's what he's
genuinely
there
miserable
for.
about his lot in life? He seems miserable about his lot in life. You seem like a huge asshole.
I mean, I'm Wario. Like,
Yeah, but you, Goggle Bob, are making a choice here.
Yeah.
I think this reflects poorly on you.
I mean, you could argue that he's just role playing.
Yeah, there you go.
I have seen the evil in Goggle Bob's heart.
I'm releasing
That is
the
true, so
Wario
am I.
inside.
Ugh. Get that
I'm
checked
thinking
out.
about thinking about Warlocracy's Fallout 2 for bad people again. An incredible example of
I felt I
Rumble
received one of the
roleplay.
highest compliments I've ever received. This like yesterday when Callie Scrub was like, "Hey, I liked these 2 YouTube channels you linked. Do you have any other recommendations?"
Oh,
Remember, it was when I was when I moved, I came out to the West Coast last year, and we were all hanging out in the
Yeah.
hotel room, and I just put on his Dead Money video.
Yeah. Good time.
We were all like
I had
at
shown
that point,
him. I had
in the
last
day.
time I was there. I had shown him. God, which there was.
I think you mentioned showing him Fallout Online.
I showed him Fallout Online because Fallout Online is one of the most like nightmarish things ever created by man. And I think I also showed him the Emba 5 mod.
That's truly amazing.
Do not get
Was that-
too,
is that the-
too
is
wrapped
that the
up in the
one that-
dog
that's-
man's perspective. What was that?
Wait, was that the one that was just like the
It was a recreation of a destroyed Soviet town
Yeah,
in Morrowind.
lore friendly. That's the weird part to me.
That part's so good. The fact that it had to fit within the lore, and the way he went about making it lore friendly created like debates on the like forum he was talking about it on, because like they're like, oh, why is it always the dwarves that do all this? Why can't it be something else?
yeah. Why is it always the dwarves?
Why is it always the dwarves?
Also, the part where he starts like hitting things with the guitar and just talking about how everything in the mod has extremely fucked up stats, and just says, "This is end game content."
Why is it always the dwarves? 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 Why
Every every Soviet male has the desire upon reaching the age of 18 to pick up a guitar and start playing in order to woo the opposite sex. This is done because they realize that they are at the exact halfway point of their natural lifespan of 36 years. Morlocracy, undefeated.
Truly the best Slavic video game YouTuber there is. Well, I don't know. I'm not aware of that many Slavic video game YouTubers, but he's up there.
But definitely a high quality Slavic video game YouTuber who has like the most world weary leftist East Bloc opinion.
Yeah.
It seems specific.
I loved his attempts to I believe he calls it Vatnik studies. Where he like tries to explain not like the ways in which like Russian and former like USSR politics are fucked, because they're fucked, no mistake, but like the weird ways that manifests.
Oh yeah, I have like a YouTube clip that's just him talking about like Americans see these things and think of them as being like the equivalent of their own like CIA spooks, but this is like more like a deranged mashup of QAnon and like respect-obsessed gangster culture.
Yeah. Or like when he was discussing like the two major political forces as not right and left, but as the dorks versus the cops. The problem was
Goblin
that
is an artist, but his medium is racism.
Yeah, and trying to break down. You have to understand the things that the dorks cared about the most, the intelligentsia, was the idea that we were too impressed by World War II veterans, which. As far as veterans to be impressed by, I think you give those a pass.
Sorry, the baby knocked on the door like a full-grown man. And that startled me.
I did not hear anything, but I'm very impressed by the baby's gumption and grit.
Let us know when the cat
Good job, baby.
knocks on the door like a full-grown man.
Here comes baby.
That's why I made a startled noise.
There's a baby at my door. I have to go take care of this.
How much more do you have to do before the timer runs out here?
I mean, I have to get some balls and some hoops.
Yeah, you're playing basketball. Because Durai got a basketball ball team.
DeVry got a basketball ball team is one of the funniest, like, just statements ever made.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, just like that, the footage there, which is like being filmed from inside what appears to be a vent, while the guy filming it is just cackling.
I love that, like, that basketball game has both the highest scoring and second highest scoring teams of all time.
Yeah, honestly, I'm so glad that, like, he brings up, like, I wouldn't want every basketball game to be this, but I'm glad at least one game was this.
Yeah.
Like, there should be at least one deranged fun and gun basketball game. We're serious about success. DeVry, we're serious about success.
Into the portal.
Oh my god, I missed this piece. Alright, we're done with this game for the night. Like, that's the downside of Wario Land 4, is that, like, you play through the whole damn level, but if you miss...
Like, all the levels are like
thing,
a million years long, and then this shit happens.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then you didn't even notice it because, like, there were other shit going on. Oh my god. I'm gonna just randomly play another level and then run out the clock. Let's see how the Sapphire Passage is doing.
I love the little
Programming
mini
starts in,
Wario
like,
sprite
3
for his
minutes.
overworld stuff. He just looks so dopey.
At that point, Callie, it's not counter programming; it is simply programming.
Yep.
Yeah, I only got one more stage of Wario left in me.
But I can only work as a counterpart to someone's main programming. What am I to do?
I believe in you, Cowscope. I think it's time you took center stage.
We all believe in you. We can all work together and watch you lose. I mean, win.
We believe you will win, and it'll be great.
So this is like the intermediates only tournament. So it's possible that I only played 2 sets today because it's an actual knockout bracket instead of like the
Oh,
sort of Swiss thing they've got going on most weeks.
most weeks you at least guarantee you get to play a bunch of Guilty Gear.
I mean, you can just
But
play Guilty
also-
Gear by yourself like a loser.
Also, like what is it? Like I am guaranteed to not run into. It's like, oh yeah, this person I'm playing against is the best biking player in the country.
Yeah. That you can just run into the most intermediate biking player in the country. It's like, oh my god, this player is so mid.
Rude.
Yeah, I know some people swear by it, but Wario Land 4 is definitely a very weird game for how it tries to implement everything that happened in the previous Wario Land games.
Yeah, it kind of tries to be a lot of different things.
Like, it's got the transformations, but, like, they're not, like, a focused thing, but sometimes you definitely need them. And, like, you never quite know if an enemy's going to take away a heart or, like, turn you into a bat.
Yeah, the need
That's
to marry, like, marrying those two styles created weird issues.
Oh, I'm up.
You got this, scrub.
We believe in you.
Let's see. Okay.
When are you gonna play a fighting game with Skullomania in it?
Yeah. You know, a fighting game that doesn't suck.
Fighting EX layer.
I was going to say something more layered.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Caithness would also be interested in you playing Fighting EX Layer.
I mean, I'll probably get City of the Wolves when that comes out. I don't know. That doesn't have Skull.
I'm probably gonna pick up City of the Wolves when that comes out too, so
But
we
it
can
does
play
have
together.
Terry
or something.
Bogard, who is in
I was about
every
to say,
game
it would
now.
be kind of hilarious if they made a dedicated move that all of the DLC is a reciprocal character from a game that Terry Bogard was in.
I am fascinated. Like, I appreciate that they've included someone like Mr. Big, a character who's really just a weirdo from Art of Fighting. But now aged up because, like, Art of Fighting is supposed to take place like 20 years before Fatal Fury. But also, I appreciate that we now live in a world where Chun-Li has officially pulled ahead of Ryu as the most crossed over Street Fighter character at this stage, just by virtue of her being there and Ken being there, but not Ryu.
Well, so you've got Ken and Ryu in Smash Brothers, and you've got Chun-Li and Ryu
But-
in Power Rangers.
Power
Battle for the
Rangers
Grid.
Battle for the Grid.
And you've got
So
Ken
wasn't
and
Chun an assist
Chun-Li
trophy
in,
in Smash?
in City of the Wolves,
No.
so it all balances out.
The assist trophy for Street Fighter was Guile.
I Okay, yeah, I'd forgotten about that. I thought that she was an assist trophy in Smash.
Yeah,
My
I'm
entire
pretty sure
world is
she's a
ruined.
sticker, but
Yeah, stickers don't count.
of course. I mean, there were Secret of Mana stickers.
Yeah, disgusting. Fuck that. Bad game.
How could such a thing be allowed?
I am average Goggle Bob
trophies
consumer.
don't
I enjoy
count
bad
either.
game Secret of Mana.
But also,
Man, I hate that I just fucking took off of an ancient weird Channer post.
I mean, I feel like
I'm
I've
sure there
heard
are-
that format outside of containment.
I'm sure there are other games that view guests in and Chinley does not.
I just think a lot about I am average American man. I enjoy bad game RuneScape.
I enjoy bad game RuneScape.
I
It's
mean,
just like, you know what? I'm into it. I respect it. I respect that burn. That particular burn lives in my soul.
It's a great burn.
Oh, also, I forgot that it also starts with very phonetically rendered Orewa Pig American Des. Orewa Baka. I am average American man. I enjoy bad game RuneScape.
I'm trying to think. I did an entire article on games where Street Fighter characters appear, but Ryu doesn't. And I'm trying to think. I think the Harvey Birdman game has Chun-Li, but technically no Ryu.
It has Chun-Li, Guile, and Dulcim, I believe. So it has
Yeah.
quite
Man,
a
that was
few.
a weird ass game to exist.
Oh yeah.
I had not heard of it before just now.
Yeah, it was not made internally by Capcom, but it was published by them, and it is just an Ace Attorney knockoff.
And it does have
Which-
random Street Fighter cameos that make no Guile just shows up in the jury box.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like, well, we have Capcom as publisher.
And apparently they don't mind if we do this. Technically, Ryu does appear, but only as a,
As a
only
fake
like
ID.
in his as a fake ID. Yeah.
Yes. But technically
there-
the person does not appear.
Yeah, as a person, like he does not appear. Which while Chun-Li, Guile, and Dulcim all appear in person.
There are Street Fighter characters as random background cameos in Yu Yu Hakusho episodes, so it's not that remarkable.
That's pretty cool.
Street Fighter
What
was South Park.
were the other major examples, Goggle Bob? I know Mega Man 9 has Chun-Li as a news reporter.
And Breath of Fire has Chun-Li appear randomly in Breath of Fire 1. She appears if you enter like a it's kind of like a code wherein you're talking to somebody who gives you a series of yes/no questions, and you have to answer like yes, yes, no type of thing.
You have to nail the sequence.
Exactly. And there's also that one weird Wrecking Ball game, which was on Xbox 360. I think it was like an independent game, but Blanca inexplicably got to be a Wrecking Ball in it. Because of
I mean,
course.
of all the Street Fighter characters, he is the most Wrecking Ball.
Of course. But literally none of the other Street Fighter characters appeared as Blanca. But I think those are appearances without Ryu. So I think Chun-Li does pull ahead there, even though Ryu has appeared in like a bazillion other games.
Yeah, Ryu's all over the place.
But if you're going to get
See,
somebody other than Ryu, it's got to be Chun-Li.
Yeah, typically it's Chun-Li.
Unless it's Ken.
I think Ken is like a package deal for you
Yeah,
most of the time.
just I can say from having counted, Chun-Li appears more often than Ken. But Ken is definitely a possibility.
I do respect.
Where is this
the
article
notion
you
that-
wrote? I gotta dig it up now. What's
It
it
was
named?
on the, it's part of the SBC.
I assume it's on
and
the
it was-
Smash Ultra.
Yeah, it was
roster
technically
one.
the one for Ken. And Street Fighter
Yeah.
2010.
The
Sure.
final fight. I appreciate the acknowledgement that like Terry's proper counterpart is not Ryu, it's Ken.
Well, yeah, he's the American.
It's not just the American, but the attitude they take into fighting is much more analogous.
It's true.
Both of them are devoted to their children.
Street Fighter Ken. Okay, Breath of Fire. X-Men Children of the Atom.
Oh
Has
yeah, that
Akuma
had
in it.
Akuma and nobody else.
But not a Ryu, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, not Ryu. Just Akuma.
Cyberbots Full Metal Madness. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's
Rival
Akuma too.
Schools
Akuma,
has
but not
Sakura,
Ryu.
which, very appropriate. It's her whole thing. Cannon Spike. Cammy.
Probably have Cammy in it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cannon Spike's pretty fun actually. We played that once at a PAX.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Fuck.
It's a good game.
Oh wait, was I not there, or was I not?
No, you were there for that.
I think you were there. Yeah, I believe you were there.
It was just that like your entire mind was blown like 5 minutes later by Dynamite Cop.
I can't find my way out of here. I'm waiting to die.
Dynamite Cop is that like fucking beat 'em up on a boat where you can throw a nuclear missile at your opponent.
Yeah.
I've routinely described it as the best 20 minutes of your life.
It is an incredible 20 minutes. All right, let's see. And finally, in Tekken 7, Akuma. Yeah,
Again.
I feel like Akuma like just slots into the Tekken universe very perfectly. Like
He does, and like he is not just a character there. He is part of the lore, and he kind of fits.
yeah,
He
no,
fits
that
100%, yes. Like, you can see him being somebody who hangs out, who is standing in direct opposition to Heihachi because he's friends with his wife.
Yeah. I love the extremely weird like morality that has been carved out for Akuma.
He won't kill anybody with cancer.
And until finally acquiescing as like as part of the like death given to an honorable warrior.
Yeah. Now his whole policy. That's the thing about Kuma. Like he follows a very strict code of morality, and that code of morality has fucking nothing to do with anything.
Nothing to do with what we humans would think of as morality.
Yeah, like our concepts of right and wrong are completely like it cannot survive contact of Akuma's morality. He has
alright.
a code, and it is batshit insane.
So Goggles Bob is about to actually lose the run back.
No, it's
Oh,
okay.
he straight up
Wario
died.
is dead forever. So that's what we're
Remember
going to
when
call
Wario
it.
was immortal?
That has been Wario.
Goodbye,
please,
Wario.
Please do not be distracted by the fact that he's back in the map. He's actually dead forever. Never coming back.
Otogi 2 Immortal Warriors.
So good night, everybody. Thanks for seeing Wario.
Yay.
Otogi Myth of Demons.
Thank you for enjoying Purple Games this evening.
Purple Games. I had fun,
I'm glad.
but I'm also tired. It was a day, so I will be signing
Good night,
off for the
everybody.
evening. Have a great night, all.